All the time I hear the question of, is it enough? I don't know that the goal is just to die with more money, right? I think the goal is to be prudent, take care of yourself, live the lifestyle you want, support your family, support your charities. It's like, well, once I retire, now I don't have a way to replenish that. I've never seen somebody get to the end and go, I spent too much money.
What is the business owner going to do after retirement in the lens of not letting go and that becoming part of their identity? Is that's all they've known. I've done this for 40 years and I'm not sure what I'm going to do and who I'm going to be, or am I going to trust the next generation to lead the way I want to? But it's also taking that leap of faith and getting your financial plan in place and instilling the trust in those beneath you to not only carry on your legacy, but allowing you to step free and let go as well.
Yeah, I definitely see that as well. And I think the other common kind of question or comment I hear from business owners, from people who work, and that pre-retiree is really around, I just had a conversation with a client the other day, and of course the financial modeling and everything we're doing on the projection side shows that they could retire and retire very comfortably. But there's this common comment of like, well, what would I do? And we laugh about that. And, the human nature is just say, well, I'll just keep working because that's my purpose. Versus now in the conversations, the old me would have been like, yeah, okay, and you just update the numbers. Yeah, by the way, if you work 5 more years, you're going to have all this more, the pile of money is going to be larger. And for some people, they're motivated by that. But I spend a lot more time now talking about just saying, yeah, what a great question. Let's figure that out, right? And it's kind of just like people are like, what do you mean, let's figure that out? Because if there is a next phase, retirement to me, and what I've seen in real practice is not about leaving a career, a business, or a job and then doing nothing. Retirement, I think the trends I see, which is a pretty cool trend, is it's the next thing, the next phase, right? So I've left my career as an engineer, as a teacher, as a doctor, as a business owner, but I'm going to follow this next passion project. Maybe it's starting a business with your brother that you've always wanted, or doing something on the charitable side and volunteering. But I think real holistic financial planning is not giving them the answer, but definitely not ignoring the fact that they're struggling with, all right, yeah, I see the numbers, but when they say, well, what would I do? I'll just work till I'm 65 because what else would I do? That's signal to me that they don't really trust the numbers. So taking a step back, slowing down and saying, all right, let's really dive into this and see what that looks like for you. All the time I hear the question of, is it enough? What's enough? And I think of one client I was talking to, and again, our process is always around their goals and objectives, right? So it's not my goals, it's not the firm goals, it's the client's goals and objectives, and they kind of tell us what they want and we help them accomplish it. But I've often said to people, they'll say, do I have enough? Or my fear is, now when I'm working, if I screw something up, I can go back to work tomorrow and kind of replenish it. So there's this underlying fear, and they don't quite say it this way, but it's like, well, once I retire, now I don't have a way to replenish that. And I think a good, well-laid, forward-thinking, proactive financial plan should help bring some confidence to that. Is it enough? And then invariably, over my experience, is the early pre-retirees to the just after they retire, very worried about that, is it enough? And then there's like this interesting phase, like as they move into their late 60s, early 70s, and then they realize they've lived the life they want. They've, spent time with their family. They've traveled, if they're blessed to have good health. And then they get to like required minimum distribution phase, right? And they'll start to say, well, now the government's forcing me to take money out of these retirement accounts, and what are we going to do with it? It kind of opens up the opportunities of their thinking to say, maybe now we can start to support our charities, or we can start to make gifts to our children or grandchildren, or we can do more traveling, or we can do more, because It's just the natural progression. Early on retirement, I'm very worried, I'm very concerned. The decision I make today in 2026, they don't, without a good financial plan, they can't see the ripple effect of that in 2046. And I love to see clients kind of go through that phase through their 60s and 70s and 80s when they realize, I was having a conversation with a client the other day, and I have half joked, but I said, I don't know that the goal, because I know them really well, I said, I don't know that the goal is just to die with more money, right? I think the goal is to be prudent, take care of yourself, live the lifestyle you want, support your family, support your charities. And I joked, I said they have a son that lives across the country, and they were flying out, I don't know, in the next week or two. And I said to her, well, do me a favor, go home and upgrade your flight to first class, because you deserve it, and you should enjoy that. And we laughed about it. Part of our process is designed to help people think through this, but they have such concern and flat out fear of, is it enough in their early retirement years? I can say almost always, and I've been blessed to work with clients now across from startup to growth to pre-retirement to retirement to end of life, and seeing hundreds of different scenarios. And I can, say that I've never seen somebody get to the end and go, I spend too much money. They don't run out of money because I think in that early stages, they're so worried about spending it and so worried about it. By the time they get to their 80s and 90s, they can't spend it fast enough. And I think for us, a good holistic financial plan should be to meet them where they are, help them see that ripple effect. If I do this, if I travel, if I buy that second home, if I gift money to my kids, if I fund my grandkids' college accounts, if I set up a charitable fund in the family's name and give a certain amount of money to it every year, you can see, yes, the impact in 2026, but more importantly, see the impact across your lifetime.